Growing up in Jefferson County, in Arvada in particular, I've seen many attacks against our rights and liberties as citizens and as taxpayers. Unfortunately, Jefferson County commissioners have been leading the charge against taxpayers this year, and Initiative 1A is worse than I thought. Natalie, just how bad is Jefferson County Ballot Initiative 1A?
Well, what Jefferson County 1A is doing, although the ballot language is not at all clear about this, is it's asking to forfeit millions of dollars in Tabor refunds. And when we forfeit, if we forfeit those refunds, that essentially means our property taxes don't have a cap. So it affects not only people who own property here in Jeffco, but renters because those increases are passed on. It affects businesses because they'll pass the costs on. So everybody, even if you don't live here, you're going to be affected, but certainly living here, you get affected even more. Now, the problem is the ballot issue doesn't describe this at all. It's very vague. And it says, may we exempt all non-property tax revenue, but it doesn't give a dollar amount. Tabor states there's some very simple financial language background that's supposed to be included in the booklet that we get, the notice to increase taxes. Jeffco didn't put anything in there at all, and they have refused to answer through two direct questions, once to staff and once to Commissioner Tracy Kraft Tharp. What is the dollar amount that we're giving up in Tabor refunds? And they refused to answer. By my estimation, looking at the books, we are close to $50 million that we will be excluding from Tabor caps. That means, again, our property taxes could go up unlimited because we know property values continue to jump, even though it might be a little slow now. We've seen the dramatic increases. So the impact is great. The problem, Jeffco has not been honest with this discussion. And in fact, they've used our taxpayer dollars over the last 2 years to send our Tabor rebates to us in a physical check versus just adjusting the property tax rate. That would be the paperless way. Well, when they did that, they sent out a persuasion letter using our taxpayer money to all the property tax owners, hoping to sway voters into giving up their Tabor rights. So the history here is really bad. If we can't trust them from the get-go, they can't give us financial information about the impact here. That's more than enough reasons to vote no.
Wow. Wow, that's really disappointing to see that the elected officials, the elected representatives of the people in Jefferson County, our three county commissioners, have failed to properly disclose or do at least maybe even do the research, right? Giving them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they didn't look into it. Maybe they are jumping in and asking taxpayers to support something they don't know what it's going to do. I mean, that's kind of the best case scenario. Worst case scenario, they know exactly what they're doing. They're going to try and circumvent the state constitution, circumvent the taxpayers' Bill of Rights, and try and be able to rob people of their hard-earned money, make it a lot more expensive for people in Jefferson County. Very disappointing and very discouraging, but it is exciting to see how much pushback there's been and how these commissioners are being called out for their misdeeds.
Well, they need to be. I mean, there's a property tax increase coming when housing affordability is one of the top issues on people's minds and cost of living. These directly impact it and it will drive up both. And the taxpayers should know that before they're inking in something on a ballot. We should have an honest discussion, and that's not been present.
Wow. Yeah, honesty in politics, kind of a novel concept, you know. But
One
this
would,
is an issue. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, one would hope, but continues to fail having that discussion with electeds.
Yeah, and this is something I've been thinking about for a long time, and unfortunately see examples of pretty constantly, is the lack of a representative government or a lack of a democratic government. If the people don't know what's going on, if the people are either misinformed or uninformed, then how can they make a rational, knowledgeable decision to influence the elected officials? If they don't have all the information, if the government or these politicians are withholding information from the voters, then how can we even say on any level what kind of represent that we have a representative government?
Yeah, and how are the taxpayers going to be treated in the future once, if that money was all handed over? You know, no, we deserve more respect. The Taxpayers' Bill of Rights. It's the 30th anniversary of this year. We should be celebrating Tabor, but Jefferson County commissioners appear to just want to drive a stake into Tabor and let it die. That would be their preference, and that's sad when that's our elected representatives.
Well, I hope the voters and the citizens of Jefferson County realize that there's a reason life's getting more expensive. There's people with names, there's people with elected offices, there's people up for reelection, and speak up, stand up, and let's hold them accountable.
Yes.